Hey everybody, ChristopherOdd here. Welcome back to Dragon Age Inquisition. This is going to be a video in which I respec all of my heroes, except for my character, Oddeth. I'm going to kind of experiment more with the other mages, as they are respect, and then I will make my choice on my specialization before I go forward. So, if you're not interested in seeing that process, then by all means, feel free to skip the video, and we'll see you in the next one. But, I will resolve some of the war council stuff that we have pending, specifically around Josephine's case, so after that we'll jump right into the re-speccing. So, we have a couple things on the Ferelden side. Hardened Hightown Worthy Dwarf. So we got an ornate Bianca grip. We removed the dwarf from his home in Hightown. He had another manuscript in progress, which we burned, doused in acid, and threw into the sea. Apparently he has a beef with Varrick for setting up the champion of Kirkwall with another rune crafter. He ranted about better beards and true dwarves, and then declared himself the greatest writer in Thedas. At which point, Fletcher laughed so hard, she started choking. That dwarf is a menace. And he claims he didn't send a note to Skyhold. Cooper. Okay, well, we'll take the grip. And from the crows... We were going to stage an accident for our dear friend, Lord Enzo. I suppose the direct approach works as well. We get paid either way. Alright. Now we have another lead on the crows. Now what about the minister? Here we go. I have the time and place of the Marquis party, or Marquise's party. You must find a way to speak to Minister Belli privately about ratifying the Dupericet's return to nobility. It is the last step we need. She holds the success of the entire endeavor in her hands. Okay. So, I imagine that that's going to be something that she wants to attend with me. Let's see if we can help Dorian.
Activity.
If my agent
The Celestine League is an exclusive organization composed almost entirely of merchants of noble birth. They pride themselves on this as their cachet when dealing with Orlesian elite, and thus getting a commoner or such as Ponchard de Liu, wealthy as he might be, admitted to their ranks is not a trivial task. This is, however, the only way de Liu will surrender Dorian's birthright. So we need the League to admit Ponchard only long enough to turn over the amulet. There's an easy deception to arrange. I have several connections within the Celestine League, a few suggestions to the right people, and the matter's settled. I like that she's kind of saying it's going to be only temporary. Let's make that happen.
Let's see what we have.
Then, we could try to help Sarah a bit here. I'll never understand how they function with the same name. A memo from Liliana written on a letter from Sarah. Sometimes we trade our baddies. Some knob learns your tricks. Message another red Jenny. Now you're twice as hard to catch. Looks like magic, except no demons and no magic, I suppose. Anyway, the caravan we took over. There's 2 leads on that from 2 other Jennies. Good ones too, Sarah. Simple sketches of the red Jennies and their locations are scribbled below. Their mustaches seem improbable. Of course. Supplied from Navarra, I can leverage the Pentagast name to manipulate to a degree, but perhaps we needn't mention it to Cassandra.
Inquisitor.
Okay. And then, let's go back to the Ferelden side. And let's... Oh, we can't get a lead from the crows. There are reports of darkspawn activity on the Storm Coast while the area is sparsely populated. The travelers pose a significant threat to travelers... Or the Darkspawn pose a significant threat to travelers, as well as to Inquisition soldiers stationed on the coast. Should the Darkspawn branch away from the region, villages further inland may be at risk. The Darkspawn are emerging from underground. Our soldiers can sweep the area to determine where they're most concentrated. Yep, sounds like a perfect thing for you, Cullen. Okay, so on my way out, I'm not going to talk to Josephine because she may want to jump right into the Marquise's party. But what I am going to do is go and respec. I think this is going to be kind of interesting. I've watched a few like build suggestions on YouTube. I did some reading. I'm not, just so you guys understand, like, and you probably know this, I'm not a min-maxer by any means. But I think there are some natural connections that we could make. And I think I'm going to start by basically almost maxing out each of our guys' special abilities. And then we'll kind of figure out some synergies from there. There's some things that I'm going to go, like with the mages, I'm going to have everybody have a barrier. And maybe even Fade Step, depending on how many points we have. We're all level 15, so it's not a ton. But But yeah, we'll see. So we have one free one here, basically. But we're going to need some for everybody else. So that's 2. I'm going to move through each character so we know we have one for each. Dorian. Blackwall. Cole. Vivian. Solus. Varrick. And Iron Bull. Okay. Yeah, and some of them are only 14, well, everyone is except for me. So let's get started here. Let's jump into, let's see, who do I want to start with? I think I'm going to start with Vivian, actually, because I have, like, the clearest kind of path that I want to go with her. So let's go ahead and use the amulet. She's going to be our, basically our support as much as possible, and we've already utilized that with her, but now I'm going to try to go as specific as I can. Okay, so Vivian, let's go over to your specialty first with Night Enchanter. You've got Spirit Blade, so you're going to get in up close. You deal quite a bit of damage, so let's grab that. Let's see. I don't know if we need Defending Blade as much. Fade Cloak is pretty strong, surrounding yourself with the magic of the veil itself. You're briefly invulnerable and can pass through enemies unharmed. I like that. And then I saw a cool video on Decloaking Blast. If you rematerialize inside an enemy, they're blasted back with massive force. So basically you would use Fade Cloak to go invisible and then get like right close to an enemy, and when you come to fruition, boom, 1,000 weapon damage. Like, it's pretty massive, so I'm going to try to grab that. Combat Clarity, the chaos of combat frightens some, but for you, it's a comfortable rhythm. Your mana regenerates faster when you're near hostile enemies. So, I mean, that one's pretty great. Her Resurgence is amazing. It's a massive heal that brings everybody back to full health, even if they're unconscious, so we can't not take it. Veiled Riposte. Whenever you have a barrier active, enemies who attack you will take damage in return. And that's really good, because I'm going to actually prioritize her barrier usage if I can. Fade Shield, you draw back the energy released at your enemies and your attacks against them. Any successful attack strengthens your barrier. The more damage you do, the more powerful your barrier grows. So that's pretty massive. Plus, we actually get some magic attributes there too. Night Protector, you're adept with defensive magic. Barriers you create take longer to naturally decay. So, again, pretty huge. Disruption Field, you fill an area with magical energy that slows and weakens your enemies. Enemies larger than the field are immune, so dragons probably. That's pretty good. I don't think we got that far, obviously. Enemies caught in the Disruption Field are slowed to a stop over the course of several seconds. Striking them ends the effect. So it can freeze them, but once you hit them, they're toast, or they're back in it, so I might hold off on that one right now. I think this is a pretty good start. Now, I'm going to focus mainly in the Spirit Tree for her. Barrier is very strong, but I'm also going to grab Elegant Defense. Each time a barrier you have cast expires, the ability's cooldown time is reduced, so we can cast it more frequently. Let's see what else here. Threat Reduction. Your Aura of Tranquility makes enemies less likely to attack you. So this is good because, look, Vivian needs to get up close to use her Spirit Blades, but I would like to build out some tanky characters to go along that will want to draw aggro, and this combined with them drawing the aggro will mean that she probably won't get focused as much. We have 4 more points to spend, and I really want to get to Revival, so we're certainly going to grab Dispel. Mind Blast is kind of interesting. Like, I think I'm going to go down this left side for now until we get more points. This Rejuvenating Barrier also is interesting. When you or your allies have an active barrier, the beneficial energy invigorates them and helps them recover mana or stamina more quickly. So let's grab Dispel. Let's grab Revival. And let's see here. If we grab the second level, Spirits now protect your allies for a short time, reducing incoming damage and reviving them if they fall unconscious. So you summon spirits to heal the fallen enemies in the area, getting them back on their feet and fighting again, which is great. Cooldown time is 60 seconds, 85 mana. If we grab this, they now protect you for a short period of time, reducing incoming damage, reviving them if they fall unconscious, and that lasts for an additional 15. So my understanding is if you revive and they go down right away, this should bring them back up if they fall unconscious again, and it will reduce the incoming damage. Let's see. Transmute magic. Spelling spells and status effect increases your own spell's damage and barrier generation. So this is really good, but I think rejuvenating barrier is the right thing to do here. Yeah, see, and this one's good as well. I just don't have the ability to go down through both. And I personally think that threat reduction is pretty strong. Let's see. A protective barrier springs into place around you automatically when you're badly injured. Oh, see, that's pretty good too. Maybe instead of going Dispel, maybe we should go down the other side. Grab the Guardian Spirit. We have Mind Blast. You send enemies staggering with an explosion of willpower that drives them back and makes them less likely to target you again. So that's kind of similar to Peaceful Aura in a sense that it's going to remove some of the aggro. But then we could grab both of these, and we could grab Strength of Spirits, so any barrier that we have is a 50% increase, which is super strong. So I think that's a pretty good approach for just being full-on support. Now, tactics-wise, or where is it, behaviors-wise, let's see here. I'm pretty sure there's a way. Now, why does this have an X beside it? These are things we haven't used. So, enable abilities are used when appropriate. Oh, okay. Okay, I see. So, I'm hoping that this... Let's see. Is it the order of... on here that they would use them? That's one thing I'm unsure about a little bit. I'll put Barrier first just so that it's clear. Resurgence we do want to be able to control for sure. The next thing we would want is probably Revival. And then we would want her Spirit Blade. And then we could go like this. I'm not sure if that's correct, but I don't want to tell her that she can't use any of these things, because I do want her to. The only thing is her Resurgence I would rather her not use. Healing Potion Reserve. Yeah, I'm okay with them using as many as they need, but they are a little bit aggressive sometimes. But they can usually use it fast, and I could switch to them and have them use it, so... Okay, that is Vivian. Now, who else? I want to build out like a kind of an assassin double dagger guy. So Cole's already our double dagger user, and I like that approach. So let's go here and grab another Tactician's Renewal. Okay. So Cole... Let's go into your dagger usage here. A lot of these are very, very good. Flank attack's great. And if before your target turns to face you, you move to stealth. So you get like a free stealth out of that. You lash out with both daggers, striking deep with bonus damage if you flank your foe. So like this one, you go into stealth and then hopefully run around and flank and use Twin Fangs. Would be great. Let's see. Your strikes cut deeper into any foe whose current health is lower than your own. It's pretty good. I'm certainly going to need some stealth from him. But let's see. You go into stealth, your allies follow your lead. The entire party remains undetected for the duration of the effect, even while attacking. Something I haven't really done enough of, really, is experimented with stealth. They'll swear you leapt from the shadows like a thrown blade and hit your target with a flurry of strikes from every angle, but it's obvious that you were nowhere near them at the time. So 300% weapon damage is pretty great. Use hidden blades faster, more accurately, launching even more strikes on your victim, yes. Wounded enemy is a perfect target. Your attacks are even deadlier against targets that are close to death already. 2% for each 10% missing health. So even, let's say they're 90% missing health, that would be 18% as a damage bonus. It's okay, but it's probably better just for the dexterity unlock. You've learned to use the distraction of an enemy's death to slip silently into the shadows. Killing a target removes any cooldown on stealth, so once again, able to stealth more often. Cloak of Shadows for sure. Knife in the Shadows, deadly threat to an enemy that can't see you coming. When you attack from stealth, you automatically crit, which is exactly what we would want. And now here, you mark your enemy, and every hit on them adds part of its power to the mark's damage. Trigger your mark when you are ready, and watch them fall from injuries they never even noticed. You can manually trigger the mark early for bonus damage. And while it's active, this is the Mark of Doom. Mark of Death leaves the target vulnerable to even more injuries, so it reduces their armor. That's good. I think I might save the right side here and stick with what we have. And we could focus more on the blades. We could even, because we're going to be in close, we could potentially drop some caltrops. Potentially. Let's see here. We need stealth. You live in the darkness. Yes, we want this upgrade as much as possible. Now, what else can we do? Evasion's chance to activate is only 5%. It's not great, but I like the threat reduction. Once again, this kind of pairs nicely with Vivian and a tank. So we can have the damage, the heals, and the tank to draw aggro. Let's go with that. Knockout powder. You throw a handful of dosed dust into an enemy's face, putting it to sleep for a short time. And if the enemies affected by knockout powder sleep longer and are slow to wake up after being damaged, that would be pretty good. I really want to get down here to Shadow Strike. Like, the 400% weapon damage is massive. If we can combo it with an incapacitated enemy, then we get a detonator. So I don't know if knockout powder incapacitates or not, but I'd like to grab as much of this as possible. Shadow Strike costs less stamina, and when you use it while flanking an opponent, you reduce all of your active cooldown times. That's pretty amazing, actually. So I think that sets us up pretty nicely with the points that we have. We've got a good amount of stealth, lots of additional damage to be utilized, and then we've got the flank attack and the twin fangs over here. So let's see his behaviors, or tactics, sorry. Yeah, so use any of them as much as you want, but you should probably, I don't know again if this is the priority that they use them in, but I want him to prioritize using stealth. So, oh, here we go. This is what I want. This is what I want. Okay. So we want to prefer stealth, I think. I think that's the right thing to do. If you're in stealth or have done damage recently, this attack hits even harder. Yeah, so I don't think the order actually matters. What we really want is to have the preferred. Can we have set this as preferred as well? Yes. Perfect. And let's see. Because we have this upgraded, we kind of want to have this one as preferred as well. We'll see how this goes. I mean, there's a lot that we could prefer, but I think that's a pretty good approach. Let's go back to Vivian now, and we want to definitely make sure that barrier is preferred and revival is preferred. Mind you, she, like, when we were fighting that dragon, she would use the revival pretty great. I would not... The thing is, if somebody's down, they need to come up. So we want that to happen regardless. But if nobody's down, then she'll focus on barrier. So I think that's a good win-win right there. Great, Cullen's report is also done. Now let's build kind of a tank. And I think for our tank, I'm thinking Black Wall. But I'm also considering Iron Bull. I guess what I'd have to do is look at each of their specializations. So let's look at each of their specialty trees here. So Reaver, the Iron Bull's combat style has honed his aggression and anger to a killing edge. He has learned to turn his own pain into a fury that makes him even deadlier when the fight gets bloody. So not necessarily just about tanking. This is about kind of like a blood rage. Once you're almost dead, then things get kind of better. I like his I want to say ultimate, but his specialty in Rampage. Let's take a look at Black Wall. champion. Blackwall has sworn to give his life to protect his friends and allies. He puts himself between them and, like, he's kind of a natural tank, and his experience and resolve let him stand against attacks that would fell weaker warriors. So, defying enemies as you hold your position. This stops enemies from moving past you and enables you to choke or to block choke points. Very cool. You push yourself towards the limit, gaining full guard and taunting all nearby enemies. While the ability is active, you automatically counter all melee attacks. So, I think he's kind of the natural tank. And not to say that Iron Bolt couldn't do it. But let's go with Blackwall. We have a couple amulets here that I just realized. And that'll give us an extra ability point. So we have Solus and Sarah as well. May as well grab and wear this. Okay. So, where is Blackwall? Let's start in your champion tree. Let's grab Lion in the Shield. Your protected area increases, making it even harder for enemies to pass by. That's great. You don't flinch, don't blink, and don't back down. Enemies that hit you with melee attacks are staggered by recoil. 5% chance to stun. Is that the stagger, or does it, no matter what, with melee attacks, they're staggered, but maybe not stunned? You stand all the stronger to finish the fight, gaining a bonus to your maximum guard. Yes, please. This one's pretty great. While the ability is active, you automatically counter all melee attacks. Like, that's really good. Gaining full guard and taunting all nearby enemies. Yes, please. Adamant, you've trained hard, so you get an armor bonus of 20%. Unyielding, an attack that would bring you down instead leaves you with a small amount of health, and you're immune to all damage for a short time. So you get invulnerability for 5 seconds, and then, like, hopefully within that time, Vivian could cast, like, a barrier. We're really relying on that, but the chance of him getting that low in the first place are going to be pretty difficult. You may not be able to hold them off forever, but right now nothing can touch you. You have complete immunity to damage for a short time. Oh, that's huge. Every 32 seconds? That's really good. Siegebreaker, every attack that strikes you reduces your cooldown times and increases your guard. Oh, that's massive. Guard must be broken before a target will take damage. Okay, that's cool too. And this one, you taunt an enemy into a frenzy. Their damage output increases over time, but so does the amount of damage they take. The effect ends if you get out of range of the enemy. So, it's a bit risky, this one. But because we're usually focusing down on one enemy, that 5% increase per second, I can see, since we're all nailing it, would be great. And then this one, while To the Death is active, your guard improves as your target takes damage and you correct weaknesses of your own. So we kind of make up for it with On Guard. So let's go with that. That's pretty well maxed out. And then we currently have him set up. Let's see, what weapon do we currently have on him? I mean, we can change it, obviously. Okay, so we have him with the shield. Great, this is perfect. So, let's focus on weapon and shield. I'm thinking of grabbing the grappling because I love that. It makes us, like, super mobile. Well, not mobile, I mean, it makes us able to bring them into a position that we want them to be in. So I'm going to grab 1 point in that. Maybe Vanguard? These stalwarts protect their allies by making themselves the biggest target on the battlefield. Yeah, that could be better than going with the weapon and shield. You stand firm, blocking incoming attacks at the cost of stamina. Each block adds to your guard, though. You move much more slowly while sustaining this ability. And Payback Strike. You recover from any disabled condition and lash out at a great blow. It's okay. I don't really like moving slow. And it would use our stamina. Let's maybe focus on the Vanguard tree. Warcry. You taunt all nearby enemies with a shouted challenge, getting extra guard for each enemy affected. We want to build this guard up, I think, as much as possible. This charging bull is pretty cool. You slam into your enemies, increasing your guard and knocking them down as you break through their lines. Again, increasing guard. After you finish your charge, your next ability costs no mana. That's huge. And what about this one? You draw strength from your war cry, improving your armor for the coming fight. Armor bonus of 200. Or we could go into challenge, taunting a targeted enemy and improving your guard again. Or we could go here, untouchable defense. Can't kill what they can't hit. You get a bonus to your maximum guard. Maybe we just grab that. And then any foe that attacks you in melee is going to bleed for it, taking a portion of the damage they inflict. So they get 15% of their damage returned. Or cutting wounds. Your party does more damage to taunted targets as you rattle your enemy's nerves and goad them into mistakes that leave them open. I think that would be pretty great, because once again, we tend to focus on one person at a time. Let's see. Tactics-wise, I mean, they're all good. I don't know if I want to say to prioritize Walking Fortress, because you kind of want to use that at the right time. If we run right into a battle and he's like, okay, Walking Fortress, we might waste a few seconds of it. Let's see. Maybe Charging Bull. Increasing your guard and knocking them down as you break through their lines. I think this would be a good one to prioritize for him. Okay. So now we have like a tank. We have a rogue that's like invisible assassin. We've got Vivian, who's totally full-on support. Now, we have our other mages. I think we're going to start there. Let's go with Dorian, since he's closest. Let's grab Tactician's Renewal. We'll throw Constitution back on him. Yeah, Winter's Grasp, it depends. Okay. So, Dorian, let's go into your Necromancer tree, and we're pretty much going to max this out. Unleashing the spirits that terrify, horror inflicts even deeper terror upon targets and reduces their armor while they're under its effects. Blinding Terror, you've learned to leave enemies vulnerable in their terror. Enemies that are panicked take increased damage from all attacks, yes. Every time an enemy dies nearby, you gain both health and mana, yes. Haste is pretty good. You increase the speed of the entire party while this ability is active. Basically, it just slows everything down and we can just kind of hammer things. I think it's best, like, I don't know. Your best bang for the buck is tier 1 or tier 2. But certainly I'm not going to complain if we have the 20 seconds. But going from tier 2 to tier 3 doesn't yield a double in the amount of time. But it's still really good. Killing enemies attracts spirits that increase the power of your spells for a short time. Absolutely. If you're knocked unconscious, a spirit takes control. A spirit you control takes on your likeness and fights on your behalf for a short time. The spirit draws magic directly from the Fade, casting spells without cost. You cannot be revived by any means until the spirit leaves. That seems fine. You mark a target with an attacking spirit, inflicting ongoing damage. If the target dies while marked, the spirit mimics the victim's body briefly to fight on your behalf. See, this one we need to do. Targets you kill with spirit mark now fight for you longer and harder. And you kind of want to be able to kill them off within that 12 seconds. And then you have them for 15. Walking Bomb. You curse an enemy, inflicting ongoing spirit damage, and then trigger the curse in a devastating explosion. So the explosion damage, you get 600% of your weapon damage. And if the Walking Bomb kills your target, the effect spreads to nearby enemies, causing secondary explosions. This is all really, really great to have. In addition to that, we're going to grab definitely 1 level of barrier, maybe 2. But let's see what else. We've got a lot of fear working with him. I think we're going to go Fade Step. And maybe even Winter Stillness. By standing still, you enter into a meditative state, restores your mana. So if you're standing there just casting spells, I assume that's standing still because you're not moving, you're casting spells in place. You get 50% mana regeneration, I think, which is pretty huge, honestly. So maybe we can grab a 2nd level of barrier. And let's see, what else would we want to have? Increasing your effectiveness when chilling or freezing targets. Don't really want to get into that. I just want the mana regen and the ability to kind of get away. But maybe, you know what? Maybe we grab Immolate. 300% of your weapon damage. Same with flash fire. Sends them fleeing. But this one I think might be better because you unleash a massive explosion, leaving enemies in the area burning. So you can do 300% the weapon damage, and then over time, for 8 seconds, you're doing 75% of your weapon damage. The cooldown's 30, or cooldown's 16. This one's 20. I think we're gonna go immolate. Be happy with that. Let's go into your tactics and let's say, yeah, I mean, I think for all the mages, it's not a bad idea to prioritize barrier. It's such a strong spell. Let's go into Soulless now. We can give him the Amulet of Constitution to wear. We have these Winter's Grasps. So maybe with him we will ensure that we grab it because that's going to increase the ability duration by 30%. And yeah, let's see how we do with Soulless here. Let's just check Winter's Grasp first. It's right here. Lock a target in a sheet of ice, freezing it in place. 200% weapon damage. And then we have the ring to increase this. So let's go ahead and grab it. And let's grab a group of them. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and grab all of these. But we'll see. I'm going to grab 1 level of barrier. But now with the Rift Mage, we're going to pretty much just max it out. So you recreate your own fist from the essence of the Fade and smash nearby foes into the ground. You cast Veil Strike more easily, and the blow weakens your enemies, causing them to do less damage. Stone Fist, you summon a boulder from the Fade and smash it into your target, sending them flying for 500% weapon damage. That's pretty major. The boulder summoned by Stone Fist now explodes on impact, weakening and staggering nearby enemies. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to be 1 short, but that's okay because we'll be able to get all of the abilities. Use Stray Magic around weakened enemies to increase their power of status effects on them. It's pretty good. You pull Stray Magic from around weakened enemies to regain mana based on the damage you do to them. That's pretty good. I guess both of these are great. And you think, like, weakened enemies, it's not very common, but you're constantly weakening them. It's just a matter of when he uses these things. So you summon Flaming Meteors, raining fire down upon enemies all over the area for the next several seconds. That's pretty magical. You catch Stray Magic around weakened enemies and use them to increase the damage of your own attacks. Weakened enemies have the damage they inflict reduced even further. And then Pull of the Abyss. You create a tiny rift that pulls enemies towards a central point. That's kind of like the dragons kind of sucking you in. So the one thing I would probably do with him in the future is, well, I guess we do have this area of effect in Winter's Grasp, and then the chill to increase the area. So that'll weaken a lot of enemies, which makes his his specialty tree of Rift Mage be even stronger. So let's go ahead and lock that in. Now, who do we want to work on next? Sarah, I've kind of stuck with archery, and I like that on her. I think it makes sense. So we could continue that, I suppose. Give her back the Amulet of Power. And, oh yeah, Soulless as well. I should go and give the Amulet of Power. And then before we go into hers, we'll go back to Soulless and spend that extra one on grabbing the last one. So you can pull the Abyss more often, and enemies caught in its effect are weakened. Which is perfect, because we want weakened enemies. So we would probably have him actually prioritize his pull, so that everything else works even better. Let's prefer that. Let's prefer this. And let's prefer barrier. Okay. Now with Sarah, Pretty much in Tempest, it's all about using these different concoctions. So Flask of Fire, for a short time your abilities cost no stamina, and enemies who attack you are knocked backwards. You can't use this ability while another elixir is active. While Flask of Fire is active, all of your abilities have no cooldown. That's pretty cool. So I guess you'd want to cast other things first, then use Flask of Fire with Unquenchable Flame so that it kind of resets your cooldowns. But this, you can't use it while another elixir is active, but it doesn't say anything about abilities. So maybe you want to prioritize this. Use this first, and then none of your stuff has cooldowns for 5 seconds. So you can cast a whole bunch of stuff. This flask coats you in an icy skin that increases your armor and freezes enemies that strike you. Yes. Activating Flask of Frost also taunts all nearby foes to attack you. Less. I'm not really into the whole taunting thing. Flask Master, your experience with elixirs has made you better equipped to handle potions and other consumables, letting you carry more of them at a time and giving you a chance not to use an elixir when you activate an elixir ability. So basically 25% extra elixirs. Not that we're using a lot of them. Let's see. Fury of the Storm, your stamina is exhausted. You fight even harder, lashing out with the fury to win the fight. 1,000 Cuts, you choose a target, then dash to and fro, a shadow leaving blood with every step. After you slice through other nearby foes and land behind the target, striking deep. Now, how does this work if we're not using things like daggers? Huh. We might need to. She might need to become a dagger user. I'm not sure exactly. You can use more concentrated elixirs that give you an uncanny edge in battle. You do bonus damage with all attacks for a short period of time whenever you use an elixir or a potion. This flask sends you into a heightened state of incredible speed. Everyone on the battlefield except you moves much more slowly for a short time. You can't use this ability while another elixir is active. So yeah, she's really set up to be dagger driven. Let's go like this. We'll leave Ride of the Storm. And we'll leave Flask Master. And this one, Quicksilver. Your Flask of Lightning is more concentrated. Time almost seems to stand still around you. Yeah, let's grab that. Okay, now if we go into daggers, we're going to go into the same couple for sure that we did with Cole. But let's see. Your strikes cut deeper into any foe whose current health is less than your own. That's very specific, but probably usually true. You regain stamina with every kill. Better to continue your assault. I like that. Attacks upon a target's back or flank are much more likely to be killing blows, so crit chance is huge. Death Blow. You lash out hard with swift and deadly skill, and then again against a wounded foe. And if we go here, your strike bites deeper, and if it should kill your target, there's no cooldown on Death Blow, so you can use it right again. That's pretty good. And then, you know what? Let's give her one in Stealth. And we'll call it a day on Sarah. Now, we do have to use her differently, because we really need to get into daggers now. So let's give her the Hook Blade. And for now, the Weighted Dagger, until we find something better. There we go. Okay, who's next? Let's go Iron Bull. So he's going to be like two-handed monster. Let's see. We've got the Aeroshock Battle Axe. It's pretty good. It's a rare great axe, but we got a unique maul here that we can gain guard. Chance to use unbowed. Maybe we want every hit to gain 2 guard. Maybe that is the better approach here. I'm going to stick with that. Let's use Tactician's Renewal. And now for him, we basically want him to go like Fury mode as often as possible. So Ring of Pain, you mark the battlefield as yours. Enemies inside the ring take damage, while your own attacks inside the ring hit harder. The more you are hurt, the stronger both effects are. It's kind of tough because I'm not sure how to best put him in like a weakened state, especially here, right? Where if we use his ultimate, we're going to be getting lifesteal, or he is. It's kind of tough. I guess he's just not going to build a ton of guard, but we'll have enough. And when he does get lower, then he gets really strong. So, being near a badly wounded enemy spurs you into a friendly, driving you to move faster and giving you a better chance of striking deadly blows. Your critical strikes have a chance to cause a gory mess and send nearby enemies fleeing in panic. Yes. Blood is life. You rip into your enemy, doing damage based on how badly you're wounded and healing yourself. Ring of Pain significantly increases the effect. And Ring of Pain is right here. So, okay. 0.2% for every 1% health lost. If we go here, a critical chance bonus is 25%. Let's do it. You launch an attack fueled by your fury, ripping into foes for damage that increases as your own wounds deepen. Ring of Pain significantly increases the effect. You take damage with each swing. And for some, Dragon Range is a dangerous ability. For you, it's the only way to fight. You now hit harder and reduce the cooldown time for Devour with every attack. So I think we might want to prioritize Dragon Rage. Ring of Pain, because you want to rip into your foes for damage that increases as your own wounds deepen. Maybe not. Maybe it's this one. That's tough to say which we'd prioritize. Okay, let's stick with that for now. Let's go into two-handed. Actually, I am going to grab grappling with him. And then in two-handed, let's see. Where do we want to get to? We got 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hitting a path. Hitting multiple targets with a single swing of your weapon restores your stamina for each extra target. Or over here, Guard Smash. You've learned how to batter through your enemy's defenses, doing more damage to their guard with every hit. So bonus damage against guard is pretty good. Yeah, let's go on this path. So you stand ready to deflect the next incoming attack and deliver a punishing counter to your attacker. Every critical hit reduces the cooldown times on your abilities, giving you the edge to finish off your enemies. You lash out with a fast strike that briefly stuns your target. And then Guard Smasher, doing more damage to their guard every hit. Eventually, we'll get down here. Your Great Blow tears open the ground with a shockwave that batters enemies caught in its path. And you know what? Maybe instead of, just for him, maybe instead of going with the grappling chain for now, let's use that to grab Earth-Shattering Strike. Okay, so let's see. They take spirit damage while your own attacks inside the ring hit harder. The more you're hurt, the stronger the effects are. Fueled by your fury, ripping into foes for damage that increases as your own wounds deepen. And Devour, blood is life. You rip into an enemy doing damage based on how badly you're wounded and healing yourself. Okay, so none of those really need to be prioritized. I would say maybe... I don't know why Earth-Shattering Strike wouldn't be prioritized. It's not even set to... Like, it's set to disabled. Your Great Blow tears open the ground with a shockwave that batters enemies caught in its path. Why would I not want him to use this? I'm going to have him use this one. And Rampage, yeah, you can use that whenever you want. Oh, no, never mind. Rampage is his special. Okay. Next up, we have Varrick. So certainly we're going to stay with archery for him. Okay. Let's go into his Artificer first. We can set a spike trap. You remain in stealth while using a spike trap. Okay, I see. Are these all around stealth, though? When an enemy critically hits, you take advantage of their success faster with reduced cooldown times. Mastered the proper placement of spikes and levers. When you spring any kind of trap, your enemies feel it. So, when you go archery and trap focused, I guess. Fire so quickly that enemies will swear there are at least 2 of you while putting arrows into their ranks. While this ability is active, any archery ability you use is duplicated, so good. To help the team make the most of its abilities, increasing the damage and duration of all status effects anyone in the party applies. So I'm going to grab the fallback plan, even though I think that's a little bit micro for me. But tricks of the trade, really, and I would probably have him prioritize this so that everybody's getting damage and duration bonuses. We could throw out some mines because that will stack nicely with set them up, get the damage bonus. And your experience with finding and pointing out enemy vulnerabilities gives the entire party a better chance to land a critical hit. I'm not sure if we need to... I think this is just going to be a passive. Now or never, use every ounce of stamina you've got to litter the battlefield with traps. The more stamina you use, the more traps you throw. 1 for every 5 mana. Yeah, go for it. That's cool. So let's go into... archery. We definitely want long shot. It's really good. We want death from above is okay. Leaping shot is okay. Strafing shots is okay. Take a moment to line up the perfect shot, but this is what we want. 1, 2, pin cushion, and 5. Or 1, 2, 3, 4. It takes a moment to line up the perfect shot, but it pays off with a devastating hit that bites even deeper against enemies who aren't injured yet. So you start off with full draw. And if we go here, enemies hit by full draw are knocked briefly unconscious by the power of your shot. That's pretty massive. I was going to go into maybe something like caltrops, but this is pretty good as well. If we sleep them when we attack them, do they wake up? I guess we'll have to figure that out. But really, let's go into full draw as being preferred. So when we just find an enemy, I can try to start with it if we can't. But, or if he doesn't do it on his own, I should say. But yeah, we'll see how that works out for us. Okay, we only have a couple left here. Let's go to Cassandra. And you know what? I'm actually going to just save here because when I was going to look into Blackwall versus Iron Bull for a tank, we totally crashed and then I had to come back and like redo it all. So let's go into Cassandra now. And currently we have her set up with sword and shield. So I'm okay with that approach. But let's go into Templar first. So the Seekers of Truth founded the Templar Order and taught them how to deal with hostile mages and their spells. Cassandra thus possesses all of a Templar's abilities without the risk of lyrium addiction. Okay. Dispel all hostile magic from the area around you. That could be pretty great for us. And then we have this. Spell Purge now deals massive area damage when dispelling barriers and other beneficial effects on enemies. Yes, so if we see somebody with a barrier, she can use Spell Purge and deal 600% of her weapon damage. Rally all of your nearby allies to fight with greater strength, especially when facing demons. Okay. Cooldown reduction, 0.5. Attacking enemies while you're affected by Blessed Blades. Oh, okay. Reduces the cooldown times of Spell Purge and Wrath of Heaven. So does that mean 0.5 seconds per attack? I have to assume it would, otherwise 0.5 is not that great on 24. Party's attacks have a chance to weaken their targets. I like all of these because they're really for the whole party. Your Righteous Fervor inspires the entire party to fight harder against demons. Rally, your party's guard, stamina, and mana build over time. Your faith and your protection against the elements, not for you alone. The entire party gains increased resistance to fire, ice, electric, and spirit damage. Even should you fall, you give your allies the strength to fight on harder in your name. So if she dies, everybody gets 100% health and a damage bonus of 50. That's pretty good. Wrath of Heaven. You summon a blinding pillar of light that stuns nearby enemies and damages demons. Yes, that's going to be a priority for us. These other ones, I don't know if we need to cast, but we'll see. Wrath of Heaven does even more damage to demons and leaves them stunned for longer. So let's go ahead and set that. And let's set this to be preferred. Okay, cool. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. And then we go into weapon and shield, I suppose. What I do want, again, is some of the Battlemaster stuff. So grab grappling chain. Your critical hits leave enemies weakened. It's okay. Hamstring is okay. You get your breath back faster than most. When your stamina is very low, it regenerates more quickly. I think we'll just stick with that one. And then we'll take the rest from weapon and shield. So we can grab shield wall. Each block adds to your guard. When you use a shield wall, your movement is not slowed as much. You also protect nearby allies by giving them improved armor. Yes, quite good. Using techniques perfected by our Legion's Chevaliers, you can't be flanked by enemies, and you're less likely to be staggered when hit from the front. Or Warrior's Resolve, you fight all the harder when you're hurting, gaining stamina when you lose health. Let's grab Bears, Maul, Wolves. Shield Bash for sure. Many foes think a shield is just for defense. You correct that mistake with a Brutal Slam that does bonus damage to an enemy's guard. Okay, great. That's all we can do in that area. But I think that's pretty strong. Okay. And then last but not least, who is it going to be? Oh, did I buy an extra one? Oh, yeah, because I bought one for me. And I'm going to hold off on respeccing mine until we decide on which mage kind of abilities I like the most. And yeah, so I'll be experimenting with those guys a little bit. But that is now our new party. And I'm sure that there's optimizations that could be made. But I think we're going to be in a much better position than we were when we started an hour ago. So I want to say thank you guys if you enjoy this video. I do appreciate that. I know it's kind of like, well, you're just watching me rearrange numbers. But some people are really into it. Some people, if you don't care for it, I totally understand. No worries. But it should make the rest of the journey a little bit more exciting since we're slightly more optimized, I'd like to think. We'll see you guys next time. Take care. Goodbye.